Hey GBC family, this is the producer Claire speaking. I hope you're all doing well and had a relaxing intersession week. It's getting to the time of the semester where you might be getting some grades back and possibly worrying about how to study better for your next tests and essays. Well, luckily, we have a really helpful episode from last season that we'd like to bring back and share with you. It's an interview we did with one of the tutors from the Tutoring and Learning Centre. Our host at the time, Arantxa, spoke to them about study tips, how to write a thesis, how to take great notes, and lots more. So, without further ado, here's the conversation.
Hello, Huskies, and welcome back to the My GBC podcast. My name is Arantxa, and on this podcast, we tackle the question that you have as a student about everything from academic support to mental health, in order to help you to be successful at college and beyond. Today, we are going to talk about studying tips. What helps you focus on school? Are there any tips that you have learned in the past? Well, we are going to talk to an expert on this issue, one of the GBC Peer Tutors from the Tutoring and Learning Centre. Welcome, Kyla, and thanks for coming on to the podcast. How are you?
Hi, Arantxa. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. So, you are a peer tutor, which means you have been hired by the Tutoring and Learning Centre to help other students with their studies. Can you tell me more about your role?
Yeah, so I help students with their essays or any kind of writing project. I help them understand algebra and business math, and I practice conversation skills with students whose first language is not English.
That's amazing. The last year, when the pandemic had set in, we asked GBC students about their own strategies for studying online, and they record their responses. I want to play it here for you, so you can let me know what you think about these strategies.
What helps me focus on school during the summer is sitting by a window. It's a constant reminder that I have to get my work done quick.
I like to create a routine, like a list of daily or weekly goals.
So I like to take a break, go for a long walk, just to clear my head.
I have been coping up with my summer school by doing my readings and homework outside.
A tip that I can share is to connect with your peers, because at least you'll be reminded that you're not doing summer school alone.
I make sure that I have a well-organized study space with less distractions.
I like to schedule small breaks for myself to enjoy the summer.
I try to do some outside activity every day to enjoy the weather.
I will actually go into the backyard and do my class outside.
I try to get as much outdoor activity as possible, and I can have more blood flow to the brain.
So, do any of those strategies sound familiar to you?
Yes, I actually noticed a lot of people mentioned doing their work outside, and all the power to them. I definitely think that going for a walk every day is really beneficial for your mental and physical well-being. But for me, when I want to study, I am physically studying where I know I'm going to be taking the tests. I have a side table desk thing that's right in front of my couch, and the window is right behind me because the sunshine helps with my anxiety. And I like to simulate the testing environment as much as possible, which reduces my stress when I'm actually taking the test. But if I had a noisy house and I knew that I would have to take the test in a noisy house, I would study in the noise, because for me, making sure that I am mentally prepared with knowing the material, but also being ready for the environment around me when I'm taking the test, that is how I reduce my test anxiety and how I can perform the best when I take tests.
That sounds amazing. I should do that one too, about the simulation of how I'm going to take the test. But also one of the one that I really liked was the people who was studying outside. Like it was summer or springtime, so you can take a little bit of the advantage of the good weather. So in my case, outside, I can take it because it's not that noisy as sometimes it's inside. So I think it's always like look for something that works for all or ourselves, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So when students come to you, what they are looking for, like specifically, and what do you recommend to help them study?
So I have lots of students come in to practice their conversation skills. And these are great sessions for me. I like them a lot because I just get to have this open conversation with one of my peers and we talk about our interests. And for that specific kind of student, I would recommend continuing to make conversation session appointments with the TLC just to practice their confidence and to practice their vocabulary and pronunciation. And eventually they do get better over time. For other students, other English students, they'll come in and they'll be looking for help with, say, like a summary of an article. So they have to read an article and then summarize what the article says. And one of the things that you have to do in a summary is to find the thesis. And so I had one student come in and said, I cannot find the thesis in this. I just don't know what it is. So I'm like, okay, so why don't you tell me what the main idea of this article is? And as they were responding, I was just typing down exactly what they were saying. And once they were done, I was like, okay, there's your thesis. That's the main argument of the article. And for math, students will come in looking for help with rearranging algebraic equations, cross multiplication, finding present value, whatnot. And usually, and I know this because this was me as well, when math students come in, they're looking at just this giant library of things that they have to know. So it's overwhelming and it can be actually paralyzing. So what we do in a math tutoring session is we take everything that they need to know basically, but we focus them on the question at hand. And the question at hand, it'll have specific known variables and unknown variables, and it'll tell you exactly what it's looking for. And once we are able to reorient the student into what exactly is being asked of them, and they've got their formula sheet next to them, they're more comfortable and they're more confident answering that question. So for math students, I would just say, read the question out loud so that you aren't missing any words, you aren't missing any key information that will tip you off to what the answer is supposed to look like. Because very often we'll have students be like, okay, well, this is the answer. And I'm like, okay, but the question specifically asked for this unit. So it'll be like, okay, so this is 0.5 hours, but no, they asked for in minutes though. So you have to put it in minutes. So for math, definitely reading the question out loud helps a lot with just focusing ideas.
I think it's both of them, right? Sometimes like you need to read out loud everything to, even more for like the people who is not like English speaker by first, it's like, okay, we need to focus on the question and answer what specifically they are asking you, because sometimes it's a tricky part, I think. And I like what you said about the conversation skills, because as I was saying before, for people who English is not their first language, for us as international students, sometimes it's about leaving that shyness aside and start to speak like feeling more secure and confident about our conversational skills. Because I think it's sometimes you are like, oh no, my pronunciation or the way that I speak. And sometimes like, no, we need to be more like confident about what we are saying, and we have you like, because you are there as well to help us. Why not to take advantage of this amazing support and as a community and as a student to help each others?
I absolutely agree. And I really like what you said about that confidence, because that is such a big thing that I see all the time in my conversation classes. The students will be apologizing for a mispronunciation, or they'll apologize for not knowing the right word. And I keep telling them, stop apologizing. Like, what you're doing is great. You're trying. And that's the best thing that you can do, is just to try.
That's true. And sometimes like, okay, put that shyness in, let's go, let's do it. Does the Tutoring and Learning Centre offer any other supports beyond tutors?
Absolutely. So if you go to the TLC website, you can actually find lots of resources for English, math, and accounting, like tips and practice problems, examples, and all sorts of resources. We have group conversations on Sundays. There's also workshops. You can do online tutoring. You can book the services there. You can come in person and we could do the tutoring there. But even if you come in person, but you don't really feel like actually talking to someone to do that tutoring, we also have physical resources at the TLC so that you can just practice on your own.
Okay, well, so there is a lot of reason to reach out. You have a lot. So what is the best way to get in touch with the TLC?
So the way that I found the TLC was that I just typed George Brown College tutoring into Google, and it was the first thing that came up. And so the website is the first thing that came up. And from there, you can book sessions online or in person, but you can also find the contact information if you wanted to learn more about what we offer.
That's very helpful. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that we talked today. It was amazing. And thank you for joining us, Kyla.
Thank you so much for having me.
Do you take notes when you're listening to your lectures? Have you ever wondered how you can make it more worthwhile? The University of British Columbia has some great tips. Look through the pre-lectures materials. Get a head start on your understanding by looking up any words that you don't understand or writing down some questions to ask. Focus on emphasized points. Take down what the prof emphasizes. That's not on the slides. For more tips, search how to take rock solid notes for online lectures, and it's on the UBC website. Thank you again for joining us. I hope some of this was helpful for you. Don't forget to join us on the next episode for more information on the topics that can help you to succeed at GBC.